Okay, so mainly in this session, we are trying to understand what is Angular and what are the goals of Angular. Before that, what are the features of Angular? And what are the versions of Angular? Then setting up environment for Angular, creating first application in Angular. Okay, these are the main things that we are target to cover today. Okay, first one, what is Angular? As you know, one of the most leading framework is Angular. Many job openings are available based on what Angular, including for freshers and experienced. So what is Angular here? Angular is a framework. Angular is a framework. What type of framework is it? It is a client-side framework. Here, the basic question is what is the meaning of library and what is the meaning of framework? Do you know any name about Jquery? Jquery is an example of library. Jquery is one of the best examples of library. Angular is one of the best examples of framework. So what makes the difference between these two mainly? Comparison of jQuery and Angular is very important and very common. Even for if you go to interviews also they will ask what is the difference between jQuery and Angular. Otherwise, if you have already jQuery, why should you prefer using Angular? And otherwise, when to use jQuery, when to use Angular? So this type of questions they will ask. So let's try to find out some valid points about the comparison between these two. So first of all, the jQuery is a library. Angular is a framework. So first we should know the difference between jQuery and Angular. Library and a framework first. Fundamentally, a library is just a collection of predefined functions. Sometimes it may be classes, sometimes it may be functions, whatever. Generally, a library is a collection of predefined functions or predefined classes. Exactly, jQuery is a collection of predefined functions, not classes. But Angular is not just a collection of predefined functions, but of course it can contain the predefined functions. In Angular, we have predefined functions, but it's not only just a collection of predefined functions, it's much more than that. So I will go an example. Just a non-technical example. Suppose you want some money just to go to some movie. Okay, you don't have sufficient money to go to some movie. Okay, so just you're asking your friend, hey friend, just give me some 500 rupees, I will go to movie. That's all. He has given. So he is a library. So just to find out the solution quickly, you are taking the help of him, right? That is an example of library. So just quickly, he is providing some ready-made solution for your problem. But suppose assume you are doing a job and you are earning a money for your own sake, for your experiences, for your expenses, for your savings, for your other things. So overall, whatever the money requirements you have, so for yourself, you are earning a money through some job, some salary you are getting. It's a complete solution for you, right? So it is an example of framework. So in the first example, your friend has given only a small amount of money, which is ready to provide a simple solution for a particular specific problem. But framework is not like that. Framework means like a job. It is providing the complete solution. That means complete salary for your maintenance entirely. So it may be in one non-technical example, just to understand the difference between the range of library and framework, it may be correct. So what I meant to say exactly, library is just a collection of predefined functions, but framework is much more than that. Much more, not a just normal, um, okay, normal level. So library is a simple, but framework is large. So in order to visualize it, see, this is a library, but this is a framework. Yes, much like a library, framework also may contain some predefined functions, but the framework has essential features like framework provides complete guidance, complete guidance to create application. In order to create our application, complete out and out guidance is provided by the framework. A to Z. It tells how to start the project, how to write the coding, how to manage the application, how to compile, how to test, how to deploy, everything is taken care by the framework. From the first to last, from creation to deployment, everything is taken care by the framework. But library just it's a part of your existing development environment, which will just provide a collection of predefined functions to solve a specific problem. To solve a specific problem. For example, if you take Jquery, Jquery provides set of functions to perform DOM manipulations. Only for DOM manipulations. So a DOM manipulation is just a part of your project. Project means so many aspects, so many things will be there. One of the requirements is DOM manipulation. Only for performing DOM manipulations, predefined functions provided by Jquery. But only Jquery alone is not sufficient to complete the real-time project. You require more and more. But Angular is not like that. It's a complete solution. If you just believe and follow Angular, it guides you everything starting from creation to ending, deployment. That is the range difference between these two. Jquery supports the existing style of code. So in the coding style, in the way of writing the code, okay. So not Jquery, any library. Jquery is an example of a library, right? Any library supports the existing style of code, means how you are writing the code as of now, you need not change your coding style. So in your existing style of writing the code, library adds some easiness for you. In order to complete the real-time task easily, some predefined functions only provided by the library. For example, Jquery. But Angular is completely changing the style of your coding. Starting from how to create the application, how to manage the data, how do we maintain the reusable code, how do we make updates on the page, so how do we fetch the data from database. So about every aspect, the framework is providing the complete solution. That means it is changing the complete style of writing the code. Okay, that is the difference. A framework changes complete style of writing the code. Okay, so in a non-technical way, just to explain about this, for example, there is a movie actor, something is there. So just he went to some particular salon or something just for hair cutting. So only hair dressing is done by that particular person. That is just library, only for particular aspect. But complete beautician is there. Okay, he is taking care about everything about the particular movie actor. Okay, that is an example of framework. So it changes the complete style, complete appearance. Here appearance means not user interface, the coding look and feel, the way of writing the code. where you will write the code, where you will call the reusable functions. So end to end, starting to ending, everything is maintained by the framework. That is a basic difference between library and the framework fundamentally. So Angular is what? Framework. I think you understand the meaning of framework, and it is a client-side framework. It's a client-side framework. What is client-side here? Here client means browser side. Angular executes on browser. Not on server. Angular executes on browser. For example, we have opened a website, any Gmail, Google, anything. So in the client side, in the browser, some program is executing. So whichever the program is executing on the browser, we have to call it as client side. For example, your HTML language, CSS language, JavaScript also client side programming languages. So they execute on client side on the browser. On the server side, we have Java, .NET, PHP, and other options. Anyway, so we are not talking about server side, only client side, because Angular is only related to client side, not on server. But however, on the server side, we can use any other frameworks. We can use any server side framework here. Means we can use something like Java, .NET, PHP, okay, Node.js, etc. Even Python also can be used. On the server side, you have a choice of any language and any framework like Java, .NET, PHP, Node.js, Python, etc. So Angular can be used for the client side in combination with any of these. That means we can create the projects like this: Angular plus Java. We can use Angular plus Java. Means Angular is on the client side, Java on the server side. Angular plus .NET. Angular plus PHP. Angular plus Node.js. Angular plus Python. Like this, we have a combination of different, we have choices. You can use any one. And in real-time applications, there are two types of jobs based on this Angular. One is Angular developers. Second one is full stack developers. The difference is simple. Angular developer means only that person should know only Angular. Only just Angular. They need not know Java, .NET, PHP or any of these. But full stack developer means they know any one combination, either of these choices. Either he know Angular plus Java or Angular plus .NET or Angular plus PHP are remaining. But you need not know Java, .NET, PHP, Node.js, Python at a time, not required. Anyone out of these five, any one combination makes you full stack developer. Nowadays, there are so many job openings for full stack developers. Simple logic. If you are appointed as an Angular developer, you can work only on the Angular related code. But if you are a full stack developer, you can work as a client side developer plus server side. Both works, both bugs and both coding you are able to handle, right? So that's why full stack developer is preferred in most of the companies. So if you're interested, you can try for any one of these. At the same time, Angular is a common for all. So first complete Angular, then you can plan for any of these. It's your choice. Anyway, come back. So we have understood clearly Angular is a client-side framework which executes on the browser, which provides the complete coding style on the client side. Means on the client side, how do you design, how do you write the code, how do you write the programming logic, how do you connect to database. Okay, so everything, each and every coding style is explained by Angular. Just we have to believe and follow it. Next, Next point, Angular is completely separate from AngularJS. AngularJS was an old framework, Angular is a new framework. AngularJS was released in 2010. That means from 2010, AngularJS was leading in the market. Okay, many job openings based on AngularJS, many trainings happen. Okay, and many people, lots of people got the jobs based on AngularJS. But now the trend is over. Starting from 2016 onwards, Angular is leading. Particularly from the year of 2017, Angular became as number one. So now only in the oldest projects only they made by using AngularJS right now. There is no any demand for AngularJS right now. So Angular is a present leading in the market. So anyway, I will tell the differences between AngularJS and Angular later. And Angular, both of these AngularJS and Angular both are developed by Google. Okay. Now coming to features of Angular. Coming to point number one, features of Angular. So application data, nothing but we can call it as a state technically, will be stored in the component. State of the data or application data will be stored in the component. Okay, let's try to understand what do you mean by this. Simple. Suppose you imagine a registration form. Generally in the registration form, what kind of things will be there? Registration form. Okay, we have been developing registration form. Generally what kind of things will be there? Name, email, mobile, and a date of birth. Okay, some other fields if any. Okay, so we have created 4 text boxes, nothing but 4 fields. So we will have a submit button. Okay, this is your expected user interface. So here, what are the fields we are having? These particular fields must be created in the form of properties inside a class. So first we have to take a class. This type of class is called as a component class. A component is a class that contains the application data, means what the data we are collecting from the user, all the data will be stored inside a class. It is called component class. The data is called as application data. Application data is stored inside a class, right? Such a class is called as component class. And here in this example, what kind of application we are developing, what kind of example? Registration, right? So we have to call it as registration component. In the same way we can assume, suppose there is a login form, so we have to call it as login component. So any meaningful name we can provide, for example dashboard component, change password component, etc. etc. And in this class we will have certain properties. These properties are representing the respective text boxes. For example, name, what is the data type? String. Email, string data type. Mobile, string data type. Date of birth, data type. Okay, so we have created a class which contains the respective properties. Each property belongs to a corresponding text box. So in this example, this name property is connected to or binded to a text box. What is the text box? Name text box. This email property binded to which text box? Email text box. Mobile property to mobile text box, date of birth property to date of birth text box. So these name, email, mobile, date of birth are the property names. Right side things are data types respectively. So here is a class which contains some set of properties. Okay, these properties are exactly called as application data. Means what data you want to store inside the what data we are collecting from the user, that is called application data. So here the point is application data, nothing but state, will be stored in the component. Here component is what? This class. This class itself is a component which contains the application state or application data. Next, another feature is application logic is written in the component. In the same component class, one more thing we will add, that is application logic. Application logic means, suppose there is a submit button. When the user clicks on the submit button, we have to execute some code, right? So that's why I'm going to create a method called on submit click. Here we are going to write some code. By looking at the name itself, you can understand that on submit click is a method that executes when the user clicks on the submit button. It's a just naming convention. Really, the method name even can be anything. So we have to connect this particular method to this button. That means when the user clicks on the button, automatically we are going to call this particular method. Okay, here we can write actual code, some code for registration. Assume we have written the code for storing the data into database. Okay, data has been stored. But here there are two possibilities. Registration may be successful or may be failure. Suppose database connection problem, so it may be failure. Or registration may be successful, so we are not sure. We have to check. If registration successful, what should be happen? If registration failure, what should be happen? So for both possibilities, we should write the appropriate code. So here application logic means if registration is successful, what's happening? Registration failure, what should be happen? Same way, suppose a login form. If the login success, what should be happen? If login failure, what should be happen? To where you want to go. So this type of decision making and providing appropriate output to user is done by some logic, some code. Such a code is called as application logic. Simple. In the real life, for example, suppose you're just driving a car or bike. So you're just going straight. Now, whenever you have reached to your turn, maybe suppose a left turn, whenever you have reached to the road of left turn, automatically you have to turn left. You have to turn your vehicle towards left. So you are checking if you have reached to this particular place, automatically you have to left turn. At the same time, you have to check any people are coming in back side of that, right? So you will watch something in the mirror. If nobody is coming, you have to switch on the indicator and you have to turn left. So all this process of checking, decision making dynamically and moving towards left, all this process is called as application logic. So here also, first you are collecting the data from the text boxes through the properties, and these properties should be stored in the database. And after registration successful, what should be happen? In case of failure, what should be happen? You're making a decision and providing corresponding output. So this type of process is run by some code. Such a process is called as application logic. Application logic is written in the component class. So the component class contains two parts. The properties, nothing but application data, means what data we are collecting from the user. Second, it contains application logic. Application logic means the decision making and providing appropriate appropriate output to the user. So we can say a component class is equal to application data plus application logic. And every form contains its own application data, its own application logic. For example, if you talk about a login form, it contains separate application data, separate application logic. So that means how many forms you want, how many screens you want in your application, that many components you have to create. So many components in a large scale application. So we have understood what is component and what is application data, what is application logic. Next, another feature is design logic is written in the template. Design logic means here HTML logic. As we know already, in order to provide output to user, HTML logic is required. Without writing HTML logic, how can you provide output to user? So you must and should write HTML logic. Of course, HTML there is HTML means there should be CSS also for styling, for styles, background colors, paddings, borders, everything. So your HTML logic is mainly written inside a file. Such a file is called as template file. That means in order to bring this particular output as we expected, we should write some code, right? For example, we have to open the form tag. Inside the form tag, some label tag name. Okay. Then we have to create the text box by using input type equal text. And we have to repeat, email, mobile, date of birth, submit button. So this type of code, this type of HTML code you will write inside a file. Such a file is called as template. So template will execute at runtime so that you will get the output. Have you understood the difference between component and template? Component will not contain design logic. Template will not contain the application logic or application data. Component is meant for application data plus application logic. Template is meant for design logic. Design logic means what data you want to display to user. Component means the properties to store the data. And application logic means condition checking, decision making, providing the corresponding output to user, etc. You can say user interaction. Okay. Next, business logic, including Ajax, is written in the service. So many people confuse about the business logic actually. So I will provide the clarity about this. Business logic means the code for any kind of business rules. For example, you want to transfer the money online in the net banking site, for example. So before transferring the money, actually, first you have to check, right? What are the conditions you want to check? You want to transfer the money. Okay, user has entered from account to account. And amount. Date of transfer. All these inputs are given. Finally, submit button is submitted. Some OTP verification or transaction password verification, all that verifications are done. So about to just we're about to transfer money right now. So what are the conditions you will check generally? Okay, first one, the sufficient amount is available in the current balance of the from account or not. Okay, you have to check the current balance exists or not. Point number one, check the current balance. Okay, suppose current balance available. Okay, second one, generally in particularly savings account, banks will keep some limits. Okay, per day you can transfer only up to 10 lakhs. Some limits will be there, right? If you're transferring more than 10 lakhs in a savings account, you will, it's not allowed actually. In the current account, I think no limits. So in case of savings account, if the from account is a savings account, we have to check today any transfers happened or not already. Suppose already the person has transferred some 7 lakhs and now he has to transfer some 6 lakhs. So per day maximum 10 lakhs only we can transfer. That is a limit rule given by bank. And the user has already transferred 7 lakhs, now wants to transfer some 6 lakhs only. So we have to check. Already existing transfers, we have to get the data from database and we have to check, including the current amount plus previous transactions amount. We have to total them and we have to check whether it is greater than that limit of 10 lakhs or not. So for all these process, some code is required or not. So such code add. So we have to add code for checking per day transfer limit. And another one, if it is NEFT transaction, only in the bank official timing, something like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. only we can transfer if it is NEFT transaction. Beyond the particular timings, NEFT transaction not allowed. Of course, IMPS is allowed 24/7. So you have to check the system time. If it is NEFT transaction, we have to check the system time. If the system time is more than 6 p.m. or less than 8 a.m., it's not allowed. We have to check the condition and we have to provide the output. So these are the real business rules. These are not given by Angular. Notice carefully, very, very carefully. These list of points to check is given by whom? Our customer, that is bank. Suppose ICICI Bank is our customer. We are providing ICICI Bank website. So don't think in the customer point of view. You are not a customer of ICICI Bank. You are the website developer for ICICI Bank. Assume that, okay? So as a website developer, you are not fixing these business rules. At the same time, Angular is not giving these particular business rules. The business rules are given by the client. So what are the business rules given by the client? We have to check them in our code. In order to check all these conditions or rules, we should write some code. Such a code is called as business logic. So business logic is such a logic where we will check the business rules before performing some particular operation, such as insertion updation. Many people think that business logic means storing the data into database. It is wrong. So anyway, so the code for checking the business rules is called as business logic. In Angular point of view, business logic is written in the service, not in the component, because this business logic may be reusable among multiple components. So these are the main points: components, template, services. 1, 2, 3. Component contains application data plus application logic. Template contains that HTML logic, that is design logic. Service contains the business logic. These are the main features to follow. Now we have understood features. Okay, the next section is goals of Angular. Goals or advantages of Angular is separation of DOM manipulation from application logic. DOM manipulation means updation on the HTML tags. Suppose in case if you know JavaScript, we have some code like document.get element by ID, document.get elements by class name, and accessing a window object, document object. So those are called DOM manipulation. So before Angular in JavaScript or jQuery, we should write the own code for DOM manipulation. We are responsible to perform the DOM manipulation ourselves. But in case of Angular, the DOM manipulation automatically done by the Angular framework itself. The developer never write any code for DOM manipulation in Angular. You will only concentrate on your actual data. You will assign the values into respective variables. So automatically the DOM manipulation will be taken care by the framework itself. It is just a small comparison. For example, you're driving a car, and for your perspective, as a driving perspective, you have access to the steering and gate system, accelerator, brake, and clutch. Only will handle these few things, but you never and never don't know how they work internally. You need not know. If you know also, it's not a matter at all. So for as a developer perspective, the developer has to work with the components, services, templates, only this type of things. Behind the scenes, internally, the DOM manipulations automatically done by the Angular framework. So in that way, we achieve the clear-cut separation between DOM manipulation and application logic. Second one, separation of HTML logic, which is also called as design logic, from application logic. So here HTML logic is written in the template. Application logic means this part is written in the component. Okay, so this code is independent of this code. The application logic code is independent of the design logic. Two different developers can involve in the work independently. Suppose if I'm a person who is good in HTML, I'm writing the code in template only. I don't know the component application logic. If you are a good programmer, you will be writing in that component application logic, but don't care about template. So two different developers can involve in the work. That is the meaning of separation of HTML logic and application logic. And separation of business logic from application logic. The code for checking the business rules is called as business logic, and the code for displaying the corresponding output to user is called as application logic. So both are handled by two different places. Means application logic is written in the component, business logic is written in the service. So, but remember one point, in real time, each and every aspect is done by different developers. While learning, for every example, we are creating the services ourselves, we are creating the component, we are writing HTML logic. That is at practice time, but in real time, components made by one developer, templates by other developer, services by other developer. Means business logic by one developer, application logic and application data by one developer, design logic by other developer. Independently, we can work together. At last, we will integrate. Next, another advantage or another goal is make the code maintainable. So one of the benefits of Angular, maintainability. Maintainability means, see, do you know jQuery? In jQuery also we can write the code actually. Actually, when compared to Angular and jQuery, in the beginner point of view, jQuery feels a bit easy than Angular. Easily we can understand jQuery, easily we can start jQuery than Angular. In the beginning, definitely Angular feels a bit difficult, a bit confused. But that is at the beginning level only. Once you understand the style of the Angular, you will enjoy developing Angular, and that too, the code is highly maintainable in Angular. What is the meaning of maintainability? Even the application reaches to any large size, the code is very cleanly understandable. There is no any clumsiness, any confusion. Even the application size increase like anything. As of now, the application may be very small, but after a few years, the application size, the application code is increases like anything. Very large scale application also, the code is very clean, understandable, the perfect structure we can maintain for the code. So at that time it will be easy to find out the bugs and easy to make them correct. So finding out the bugs easily, understanding the existing code, This is called maintainability. jQuery code, on the other hand, will be very clumsy once it is reached to above medium range. If it is extremely small in size, it may be okay, but once it is reached to medium size or above medium, the jQuery code is extremely clumsy, confusing. The code works, output may come, but to find out any bug, suppose some value is not saving in the database. So where is the mistake to identify in jQuery? It's very difficult. In Angular, very easy. So that is one of the advantages of Angular. Another one, unit testable. Do you feel that all the forms of the entire application is being developed by a single developer? Suppose you are a good developer of Angular, you know good concepts of Angular. You started the development today. Do you think that all the forms, including dashboard, login form, registration form, everything you are making yourself? No, never. You are just a team player. You are not one and only person in the team, right? So the people can work individually and can test their own components individually. Suppose you are making a registration component yourself, and you can test yourself whether it is working correctly or not, even though the full page is not ready. So testing your own component yourself is called as unit testing. Here unit means a component. Testing a component individually without combination of any other components. Individual testing is called as unit testing. For example, in hardware manufacturing, if you can check once, suppose you take a mobile has many spare parts, right? Do you think that single person in a single day will make a complete mobile? Is it possible? Think once. Single person, single machine wants to make a complete mobile. Not possible. Each and every spare part is being done by different machines, different wings. Suppose one wing may create a processor, other wing may create a speaker, other wing may create a camera, and so on. Here wing means maybe sometimes a separate company or maybe part of the same company also. So for example, somebody has made a camera. The camera component is working on it individually, it has to test, right? See, the full mobile is not ready here. If the full mobile is out and out is ready, then we can test a camera working on it, but only have a piece of camera, just camera. You want to test it working correctly or not, then only you want to pass it to the next factory. So testing the individual camera is called as unit testing here. Testing the processor is called as unit testing. Testing the RAM is called as unit testing. So here also testing the individual component is unit testing. It is a duty of the developer itself. Who made it himself, he has to test. After complete integration, final application is being tested by other type of developers. That is integration testing. That is done by testers. For example, Selenium. That is a different aspect. Your component you have to test yourself. That is unit testing. Okay. Next one. Make the SPA development easier. Single page application development is easy. Mainly Angular is made for single page application development. What is single page application development? Do you know Gmail? In Gmail, once the page opens, the page never refresh, right? You click on several buttons and several hyperlinks, for example, inbox, sent mail, drafts, compose, reply, forward, so many buttons, so many things. But everything just works in the same web page. The complete page top to bottom never refresh. Only in the same page only certain mails list is updating. Suppose a new mail came, just mails list will be updated. A mail is deleted, just mails list will be updated. You have given a reply, just mails list will be updated. In the same page only, just a content changing. But the complete web page is never refreshing top to bottom. That is the best example of single page application. Presently, most of the companies wants to shift to single page application. So for that case, Angular is the best. The benefit of single page application is highest performance. Even though on the low end devices having low processor, low RAM, single page application works fine. Simple logic. If you keep on reloading everything from the top to bottom for every single click, it will be too much burden on the client and server. Lot of data has to be exchanged from server to client. But single page application never refresh the page top to bottom, right? So automatically we can expect the better performance even on the low end devices. Okay, anyways, these are the benefits of Angular, or can say goals of Angular. Now let us see versions of Angular. Angular 2.0. Angular 1.0 are not there. See, Angular JS was different. I'm talking about Angular only. I'm not talking about Angular JS. Okay, Angular 2.0 directly released in September 14th, 2016. Angular 3.0 skipped directly 4.0 released in March 23rd, 2017. Angular 5.0 November 1st, 2017. Angular 6.0 May 4th, 2018. The reason why Angular 3.0 was skipped, Angular 3.0 3.0 was skipped because of due to misalignment of router package 3.3.0. So exactly what happened is before release of Angular 4.0, Angular router 3.0 already released. Now later they want to release the Angular 3.0. It's like already 3.3.0 released. Now they want again release the new version, that is 3.0. It doesn't make sense, right? For example, it's like iPhone 10 already released. Okay, now they want to release iPhone 9. Before release of 10, iPhone 9 may be released. Okay, but after release of iPhone 10, again iPhone 9 should be released means it doesn't make sense. So to overcome this particular problem, Angular 3.0 is skipped just to provide the clarity about the version numbers. To avoid the confusion about the version numbers, they skipped the 3.0. So there is no any other technical reasons behind it. Anyway, present is Angular 6 is latest, of course. One point is very clear, Angular 2 to 6, mostly coding will be same. 95% of coding style is same. In fact, if you know Angular 2.0, easily you can understand Angular 6.0. Maybe very small changes maybe that's very anyway common. In case if you know Angular 6.0, you can work on Angular 2, 4, 5, anything. So don't think like Angular 2 is different, 4 is different, 5 is different, 6 is different. I should learn independently. Learning one version is enough. You can just work on any old version also. So that's why we are learning Angular 6. At the same time, you are learning Angular 2, 4, 5. Automatically, we need not separately cover it. Okay, we have understood the basics of Angular. Now setting up environment for Angular. Some software we have to install. First install Node.js, then install Angular, Angular CLI. Next we have to install create before that install Visual Studio Code. Okay, then we have to install CLI and then create application. So these are the 4 steps that we have to prepare. So let me show all these 4 points practically. So first we have to install Node.js. Okay, before that let me uninstall the old version, just so in my system Node.js already installed. Let me uninstall it first. Okay, maybe in your system Node.js may not be installed, so you need not to perform this step. The reason why we have to install Node.js is we are not writing any code in Node.js, but only the reason why we have to install Node.js is through Node.js we can download some packages. Angular is available as a packages, right? So to download the packages only, we are using Node.js. We are not writing any actual code for Node.js. Okay. So let me show here. Just we have to go to nodejs.org, and current version as of now 10.8.0 current. So we can just download it. So whatever the latest it is showing like current, just you have to use it. Click on next. Check the checkbox I accept the terms in the license agreement. Click on next. Again, keep the same path. Click on next. Click on next. No need of changing any default settings. Normally in next kind of installation. So within just 1 or 2 minutes, the Node.js installation will be completed. And after installation of Node.js, we have to also install Visual Studio Code. But I think Visual Studio Code installation, I think I need not show again, because already you know my previous lessons and previously have shown you how to install Visual Studio Code, right? So I'm not showing this again. Okay, just normally you can download from code.visualstudio.com. Okay, already you know, you were using earlier. So we have to install this one, Angular CLI. So what is this Angular CLI will explain. Okay, meanwhile this Node.js installation completed. Click on finish. So what is Angular CLI? Angular CLI means command line interface. Angular CLI provides essential commands that can be used in the command prompt to create application, to compile, to build, to test the Angular application. So starting from the creation of the Angular application, compilation, building, test, so all these development activities done by some predefined commands. That predefined commands are provided by Angular CLI. Angular CLI provides essential commands to create, compile, build, and test the Angular application. So every day, in every moment of Angular development, Angular practice, Angular CLI is required for us. Okay, so first we have to install Angular CLI. Basically, from where this Angular CLI is coming, actually there is a website called npmjs.com. Here, if you can search a package called angular/CLI @angular spelling mistake @angular/CLI, if you can search. So this is the package actually I'm talking about. Here package means collection of files, collection of ready-made files. So present version of Angular is 6.1.2 latest as of now. That means Angular 6. Angular CLI 6.1.2 means Angular 6 we are using. Okay, suppose maybe in future, maybe next year Angular 7 is released. So it will be 7.0, 7.1, something like that. So this one we have to install. But here there is no download button here, notice. The only way to install this Angular CLI, after installing Node.js on your machine, we have to directly open the command prompt window. I mean, you can find the command prompt window here in the start window system. Here you can find the command prompt, a normal command prompt. In the normal command prompt, we have to give npm install @angular/cli-g. Hey npm means Node.js package manager. Hey Node.js package manager, install a package called @angular/cli package for me globally. Globally means available to all the folders of the entire system. So in any folder of the entire system, this package will be available for you. So it may take around few minutes to install. Once this Angular CLI installation is completed, it will be ready to create the application and compile and test it. And meanwhile, we have to create a new folder for our practice. So we have to create a new folder like, okay, right click on C drive, new folder, Angular 8pm. Okay, we have created a new folder like Angular 8pm. Have you understand this? In C drive, we have to create a new folder like this. Folder name is Angular 8pm. So we are going to save all the programs in the same folder, that is Angular 8pm. Okay, meanwhile, Angular CLI installation completed. Now we have to enter into that particular folder, cd Angular 8pm. Okay, now we are in the same location, this one. This location, same. Now, hey, Angular CLI ng means Angular CLI appears. Hey, Angular CLI, please give me a new application called app1. ng means Angular CLI. New means we are creating a new application. App1 is just a name. We can give any other name, any other application name we can provide. So with this given name, a new application will be created. Okay, just all these files have been created. You can see some large list, right? So really this files list is scary. Yes, we are going to understand about each and every file in further lessons. Don't confuse at this moment. So all these files are essential. Don't delete any of these files. Don't rename the files also, you may get errors. So keep all files as it is. So first of all, believe that Angular is a predefined framework which very clearly guides you how to create the application. Means you should not maintain your own folder structure as per your personal preferences. You have to follow, every Angular developer must and should follow the predefined file system, predefined file names. Okay, as it is we have to follow. Okay, so these files have been created. You can notice here a lot of files, node underscore modules e2e src. In the src we can see app assets and environments. So I will explain about each and every file and each and every folder one by one, not all at once, one by one I will tell. So meanwhile, we have to open this application in our Visual Studio Code. So let's open the application in Visual Studio Code. So to open Visual Studio Code after installation, go to Start Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio Code. I think already you know how to install. In my previous lessons, I have shown you actually in my other badges and everything. So go to File menu, Open folder. Here we have to choose the location C:\Angular 8pm app1. Select app1 folder notice app1. In which location? C:\Angular 8pm. So here you can see the complete folder structure. I mean, whichever the files and folders are visible here, same folder structure is visible there. Go to src, go to app.component.ts. This is your component. App.component.ts is your component. App.component.html, this is your template. Okay, you will understand more about these components and templates practical usage later. The meanings already provided. Component contains application data plus application logic. template contains the design logic. The meanings already are provided in the previous lessons itself. Previous explanations. Just we have to delete this existing code. Okay, deleted all the code of app.component.html. Simply write your own code. For example, div just a heading, for example, welcome to Angular. That's all. A simple code is written. Now we have to save and run this. Okay, first we have to wait for this completion. It is downloading lots of packages internally, so that's why it is taking some time. It may take around 3 to 4 minutes. Now Angular CLI installation completed. So we have to enter into the app1 folder, in this folder, SQL and Angular APM app1. So already we are inside the SQL and Angular APM, add CD app1. Now we are inside which location? App1 location. So in this particular exact location only, we have to give a command called ngserv, means compile and run. ngserv command means compile and run. It is compiling internally. Meanwhile, we can open a browser, and in the browser we can just enter the URL localhost 4200. So once we give the URL localhost 4200, then just after a few seconds you will get the output. It is still compiling. You can see the process in the command prompt window. So once it is completed, what it is doing mainly is all these files it is compressing into few files. Just 4 or 5 files will be generated. See, these 4 or 5 files contain the code of all these n number of files. Hundreds of files combined into not single, 5 files. Those 5 files only will be loaded into browser and will execute. And now we can see the output, welcome to Angular, that's all. Whatever the code we have given here, that will execute. For example, if we can keep this window side by side like this. Okay, I just added something like, for example, hi. The moment once we save it by pressing Ctrl S, automatically page will refresh in the browser. There is a connection. Through this ngserv command here, there is a connection. Because ngserv command has opened the connection at 4200. To the 4200 only we have opened the browser, right? So in that way, it's connected. So any changes made here upon saving, automatically page will refresh in the browser. We need not click anything. So this is the very first application on Angular. So in the further lessons, maybe tomorrow onwards, we'll go more deeper details about Angular. Mainly first we have to understand components. Once you complete the chapter of components, then you will have basic awareness about the components. Then other concepts like modules, services, data bindings and all. Okay, that's all.